Sunday. I honestly have
Ooh.
no earthly idea what this is going to look like, Blaine. I am so confused by what direction this football team is heading in, and I don't know which way is up.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is one of the first times that I can recall. Usually, when they're rebuilding or they have salary cap and they cut a whole bunch of guys, so you know where they're at. This time, it seems as though they played kind of the middle of the road, not embracing that this is a rebuild, maybe more retool, and then they're coming to realization that what, now that we are where we're sitting, maybe we start selling some players. And see if there's interest. And that's kind of where we're at. So it kind of conflicting on, alumni weekend to dang, is this a must win game and everything else involved playing the Falcons. So, and then we got the caveat Arthur Smith, former, assistant here who's with the organization for a long period of time and now the head coach of the Falcons. So, yeah, it's just a little conflicting, not knowing what to expect. Kevin Byard been traded. How does that affect the secondary and the leadership? At least early on in the game, communication, especially when you have some calming voice like that in the secondary for a long period of time. And now you have two new pieces. How much will they play? Will you go with guys on the roster and just because they know the defense, which I'm assuming that's what they'll do. But still, Elijah Molden, if he starts, will communication be smooth as ice and they don't give up any explosive plays. So yeah, this is an interesting game just from that standpoint alone. What to expect from as far as performance from the Tennessee Titans?
Well, and that's I mean, I guess that's no different than every other Sunday that we've talked about them, Blaine. I don't, I go to London, I don't know what to expect. I go to Nissan Stadium, I don't know what to expect. It's this constant ebb and flow that I know that a lot of teams deal with in the league, but this one seems to have more variance than most. So, I guess with the situation that they're looking at right now, you say, okay, you let's talk about it from a football standpoint first and foremost, right? You brought up Byard and the communication element of that. This is a defense that's been solid. They haven't been great. They're not going to be better without Kevin Byard. We know that first and foremost, but they are getting healthier coming out of the bye. Tier Tart is going to be available. This looks to be at least a more a team that's healthier at the spots that they need to be their best at, which is in particular up front. The safeties are being asked to do too much anyway, whether it's they're allowing explosive runs to come through the front or they're letting guys, they're missing tackles at the second level and there's guys running all through the secondary. This is a defense that I think has as much to prove as anything, even though they have been the clearly and obvious better between the two units.
Yeah, it's been kind of interesting the last couple games. Been a little disappointment as far as the defense, but they've always shown up in the red zone. So can they, play consistently throughout an entire game? And I'm more talking about the front matched up with the secondary and giving up explosive plays. Offensively, it's catch 22. You never know what you're going to get, but it starts up front with the offensive line. NPF it'll be starting on the left side, so we'll see how he looks. He looked a little bit better than Dillard in the run game, but other than that, when you look at the PFF scores and everything else, he was just a little bit better, and that wasn't good either. So I'm interested to see what he looks like. And then you got all the trade rumors of the King, who's the face of the organization, which is always tough whenever something like that gets out there. And will he be motivated and perform, and will he play the entire game and get the normal snaps that he usually gets, or is that a red flag, a red herring to tell us that maybe this is something to maybe him getting traded? So I'm hoping he stays with the organization, but his contract is up, so we shall see. He's a commodity just like every other player on the team, and he's the one that has probably the most value.
Blaine Bishop is here with us on the 615 sessions as Jason Martinez on Facebook Live notes. Man, I hope everyone realizes that Blaine M.F. and Bishop is in the house. Legend. Absolutely. We're grateful to have the Hitman as a part of the podcast today. And to your point, Blaine, as somebody who is a figure in this franchise's core identity, yourself, Derrick Henry, is a figure in this franchise's core identity. And everything that people associate with this current iteration of Titans, Oilers, football and the generation or the era that they've been in. I look at the situation, Blaine, and I say, one, I don't think that they're getting offers that make it worth their while to move Derek, but I also don't think that staying here is necessarily in the best interest of Derrick Henry's career, whether that be to accomplish the goal of winning a Super Bowl, whether that be to continue to extend your playing career elsewhere in a different role than the one that he's traditionally had here. I don't know if they're keeping Derek for Derek or if they're keeping Derek for themselves.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you got pause there with the technology and everything. I didn't hear the question. It froze.
Okay, so I think that they're keeping Derek more for themselves than they are for the sake of Derrick Henry, Blaine, and I think that that's something that people are ignoring as a part of this. There's a lot of fingers that are going to be pointed if they move Derek, and that doesn't go to plan, and I think that has a big role to play in all of this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. When you sit where he's sitting, he's kind of in the middle of his career, and can he continue to go on this way? And if he gets moved or on another team and his contract ends, will he be able to elevate himself and be a more all-around running back? Or is it better for him to stay here? I use the example of Bettis, who was at the end of his career, and he kind of played like 3 years where he wasn't the guy, but he contributed every game. And the Titans' history says that they typically move on. They cut ties and move on, whether it's via trade. Most of the time is when your contract's up or you were released because of salary issues. So I'm just hoping that I think the King still has a lot left. You talk to people around the league who played against him. They say that if he lost a half a step, that's very minute. I mean, he is still an elite running back when we're talking about just running the football. So certain teams are going to like that fit, and then there's going to be a lot of teams that don't because they want one that is a very versatile back that can do multiple things, especially at the type of salary he's probably going to demand. So I'm going to leave the window open. I can be naive to it all, but that he comes back and continues kind of his role, maybe even a little reduced at a different price. I think that'll be his best bet. That way you kind of solidify. Maybe by then, 2 or 3 years down the road, the Titans will have the team all together that can compete for, not only the playoffs, but be a Super Bowl contending type team.
It's just they don't. It's a weird version of what I know, or at least what I've known this Titans franchise to be in the last couple of years, Blaine, where they're built differently than the personnel suggests that they should be, if that makes any sense. This offensive line is not an offensive line that was built to play to Derrick Henry's strengths, right? This is not an overwhelmingly physical, grinded out, hand in the dirt, moving people all together. If we need to run it 10 times in a row, we'll do so, and we can because we're bigger, faster, stronger than you. Now, that part of that is because they've not been able to equip themselves through the draft. They've had missed opportunities on the offensive line, and they've had to patchwork this group together. But like I was talking to Ben Jones about this today, Blaine, in 2019, they were not built for pass protection. They were just built to run people over. This is not a group that's built with that same core identity in mind, and I wonder if that's not signaling something to us.
Yeah, maybe signaling that they may have to turn the page. Man, I don't know if they're good at pass blocking either. I mean, so
that's the other thing. You have to be good at something.
I think they're going to have to systematically. They're going to have to make some serious changes up front, or Vrabel style coaching and offense is not going to work. It's just not. I mean, if they can't run the football, then they have no shot on a consistent basis, and that sets up everything else, the play action pass, and in the passing game too. So it works hand in hand. I think they're going to have to first start in the trenches. That's all NFL teams. If you want to win, they're going to have to get the offensive line correct. And I don't know whatever resources you have, but you're going to have to put it all together. And you're going to have to make the right decisions too when you're picking players, whether it's via the draft or free agency.
Yeah, and obviously they've had misses in both in the last couple of years. At @BBishop23 is where you can follow Blaine Bishop on Twitter. Of course, you can hear him weekdays 1 to 3 on 104.5 The Zone with Mickey Ryan. Of course, we'll do the Lee Company countdown to kickoff. We can hang out with the Hitman, Mickey Ryan, Kayla Anderson, and myself 2 hours before kick of the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. Blaine, Mike is Vrabel is in a weird spot, right? He's got more power than he's ever had. He is as implicated in these decisions as anybody else, including the general manager who's in his first year. And he is 2-12 in his last 14 games, which is not something that the results aren't there. I know that the personnel is bad, but I don't think Vrabel's ever been beyond questioning, but I do think that the benefit of doubt that has been there, that should no longer exist. And I wonder how you process kind of what Mike is doing, the position that Mike is in, and whether he's the right person to kind of oversee this thing.
Well, it's hard to say now. It's still early in the stages, but 40% of the roster was changed over. So that was Vrabel effect. And he has all power and all autonomy to make all the decisions, or he has to sign off on all of them anyway. So I would say after next season, if things don't change around, maybe we don't like the version of Vrabel as the GM, but we love Vrabel as the head coach. And ultimately, now that he has all power to make all those decisions, the finger is going to point to him at some point in time here, probably after next season. If he doesn't get it turned around, I think then he could possibly be on the hot seat. But we still have a ways to go, even in this season. I just don't think this team is equipped to do what the other teams did he had to go 2-4 and then go on a nice little run. They don't have the offensive line, and I just don't think they have the players to do that. So yeah, everything's going to be in question going into next season for sure.
Well, one of the players that they do have is DeAndre Hopkins, and I wanted to play this clip for the audience of Hopkins responding to some trade rumors in the locker room and get Blaine's reaction to it. So this was D-Hop about an hour and a half ago.
It's fun. I enjoy it.
What did you see from Malik and Will?
Two professional athletes that are trying to help us win games.
You try to do your best every week, but when you got a young quarterback out there, is it a situation where everybody's got to do more, be better than even when Ryan's out there?
Just got to do your job, no matter who's out there. I don't think it's more or less. Just do your job, and I'll be there for those guys.
Do you have more extensive conversations with them during a practice week like this because maybe there's more unfamiliarity not having practice with them so much?
Tim Kelly does a great job of getting those guys ready and the whole offensive crew. So, we go out and help those guys when our number's called.
What's the feeling coming off the bye? You guys 2-4 obviously need to right the ship pretty soon. How's the mentality in here?
Trying to win a game. It's work week. Can't look in the past. I feel like everybody's looking, forward to, getting after the Falcons this week. That's it.
What do you talk about with a guy like Will, who's going to be seeing his first NFL action on Sunday, and what things can you try to do to help him get past the initial nerves and all?
I don't think there's too much verbally that's going to dictate what he does for me telling him.
With the trade deadline coming up, DeAndre, do you take it upon yourself to talk to anybody in the organization saying either I want to stick around or not, vice versa? Are there any conversations in that regard?
I do my job when my number's called, and I'm a Tennessee Titan.
Along those lines, with the trade of Kevin Byard, what are your thoughts on that? I know you came here to this team with the intentions of winning. Obviously, trading a team captain, could weaken that.
KB, he welcomed me with open arms when I first came in. It's football, it's a business. Nobody plays forever. Obviously, everyone in this locker room one day is going to, be retired or, be on a different team. And that's just how it goes. That's football. And, KB or any other guy, whoever gets traded, it's part of the business.
How has the locker room been?
Part of the business, Blaine. He's saying I'm a Tennessee Titan right now, and we'll see how it goes moving forward. I don't want to speak for the guy, but I have to imagine there's a variety of different thoughts going through that man's head about the situation that he is now presently in.
Well, you know what? He did an exceptional job not to kind of show any emotion to what he was really thinking. You could tell in his mind, he was like, okay, I'm gonna process this real quick and try to make sure I don't give anything that could allude to maybe I don't want to be here, I didn't sign up for this or anything like that. But everything he said was true. Even to the part where, he says Tim Kelly gets the quarterback ready. All I can do is communicate with him based off of what we do and when I'm running my routes. And if we miscue, hey, I make sure we're on the same page. Ultimately, no player can step. Let's do more. That's funny. No, you rally around everybody else when that means everybody else is going to be participating more, but you don't try harder because as an athlete, the more you try and don't let it be natural, it won't be free flowing and it won't be natural. And then you'll make mistakes because you're trying so hard to help. And actually could hurt you at the same time. You could have some drops as a receiver. So I think they just got, as a unit, everybody just got to know that everybody's going to have an opportunity to make some plays, and you just got to make your plays when called upon.
They'll certainly have an opportunity on Sunday against the Falcons. You can hear Blaine Bishop, Mickey Ryan, and myself on Sunday morning, 9 to 11 a.m. Central Time on the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff at @bbishop23 on Instagram and on Twitter. Whenever I can log back into my Twitter, I'll be happy about it. But you can follow Blaine on his Twitter. Oh, yeah, I got kicked off. I've been kicked off since London, Blaine. I haven't tweeted since the 16th. Elon's locked me out, but we'll deal with that on a different day. I'll fight that battle on the internet at some point later on. But in the meantime, you can follow Blaine Bishop. You can hear him on Blaine and Mickey 1 to 3. And I need to let this man go because he's got a football game to coach later this evening. Blaine, I appreciate your time as always, my friend, and it's good to catch up.
Appreciate it. You got to get me back on where I can come on and spend a good 30 to an hour, man, so we can chop it up.
Oh, listen, I'm always down to talk shop with you, Hitman. We'll make it work. We'll find the time. Absolutely.
And that way we can hype it up, tell everybody I'm coming on, and that way we could blow up the internet with everybody watching, and then Elon will let you back on Twitter or X.
Blaine and Buck just on here throwing bombs. We're gonna fight our way back on Twitter. That's exactly right. Blaine Bishop, the man himself. I'll see you, Hitman.
All right, man. Thank you.